like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. The algorithm, exposing the control over the digital world. I never thought a routine day at SocialSphere could turn my life upside down. As a senior data scientist, my work revolved around algorithms and data streams, but that day, something felt off. While debugging a seemingly trivial error in the system, I stumbled upon a hidden subroutine. "Zoe, you've got to see this," I muttered to myself. The subroutine's code was intricate, woven into the core of our algorithm. It wasn't just manipulating data, it was manipulating the emotions of viewers. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen. This code was designed to create artificial emotional highs and lows in users, driving engagement through manipulated sentiments. The implications were staggering. How many political decisions, personal relationships, and mental health crises had been influenced by this code? My hands shook as I printed out the code and stuffed it into my bag. I needed to think, to figure out what to do next. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the discovery from my mind. Every interaction I had, every news story I read, seemed tainted by the knowledge that it could all be orchestrated by an algorithm. I spent my nights poring over the code, tracing its origins and understanding its reach. The more I uncovered, the more horrified I became. This wasn't just a small tweak, it was a deliberate and pervasive manipulation of global emotions. I needed to talk to someone, but who could I trust? The company was vast, and I had no way of knowing who else was aware of this subroutine. Finally, I decided to confide in my friend and colleague, Lena. She had always been skeptical of our work's ethical implications and had a knack for seeing through corporate spin. "Lena, I need to show you something," I said, meeting her in a quiet cafe away from prying eyes. Her eyes widened as she read through the printouts. "This is insane, Zoe. We have to expose this." We spent the next few days planning our next steps. We knew that going through official channels would be futile. The company had too much influence. Instead, we decided to leak the information to an anonymous whistleblower site known for its integrity and reach. With shaking hands, I uploaded the files. Within hours, the story was breaking news. SocialSphere was quick to retaliate, launching a smear campaign against me. They painted me as a disgruntled employee with a vendetta, twisting facts and manipulating the media, ironically using the very tactics I'd exposed. The knock on my door at midnight was expected, but no less terrifying. I barely had time to grab my go-bag before the agents broke in. I slipped out of the fire escape. I couldn't stay in the city. They would be watching all my usual haunts. I needed to disappear. I found refuge with a group of renegade hackers, led by a charismatic journalist named B.N.Rocker. Alex had been a thorn in the side of corporations for years, exposing corruption and championing transparency. When he heard my story, he immediately offered his help. "Zoe, this is bigger than anything we've tackled before," he said, "but we're in this together. We'll bring them down." We set up base in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The place was a maze of cables, monitors, and makeshift workstations. Alex introduced me to his team. Maya, a cybersecurity expert, Ravi, a brilliant coder, and Jax, a former black hat turned white hat. Together we planned our next move, knowing that SocialSphere's reach was vast and our time was limited. Our first task was to gather more evidence. We needed irrefutable proof that the algorithm was being used intentionally to manipulate emotions on a global scale. Maya hacked into SocialSphere's internal communications, unearthing emails and memos that confirmed our worst fears. The executives were fully aware of the subroutine and had been using it to drive engagement and profit at any cost. Ravi and I worked on decrypting the files and compiling a comprehensive report. Meanwhile, Alex and Jax coordinated with sympathetic journalists and activists preparing for a coordinated release. We knew that once we went public, there would be no turning back. One night, as we were finalizing our plans, Maya burst into the room. "They're onto us. We need to move now." We grabbed what we could and fled the warehouse, narrowly avoiding capture. We split up to throw off our pursuers, agreeing to meet at a safe house deep in the countryside. The journey was harrowing, with close calls and heart-pounding moments as we evaded SocialSphere's agents. At the safe house, we regrouped and reassessed our situation. Despite the setback, we were more determined than ever. We had the evidence, and we had a plan. Now it was a matter of execution. Tomorrow we go public, Alex announced. We'll broadcast the truth to the world, and they'll have no choice but to listen. The next day, we infiltrated Social Sphere's headquarters under the cover of a citywide blackout orchestrated by Jax. The building was a fortress of advanced security systems. We moved swiftly, disabling cameras and bypassing alarms. Every step was a race against time. We reached the central server room with my heart pounding in my ears. "This is it," I whispered, plugging in the drive with our compiled evidence. As the data transferred, alarms blared and security descended upon us. A frantic chase ensued. Finally, we made it to the broadcast room. With moments to spare, we uploaded the data and streamed it live. The world watched in shock as the true extent of the manipulation was revealed. Social Sphere's empire began to crumble, piece by piece. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Public outrage forced massive reforms. Governments worldwide enacted new laws to regulate social media and AI algorithms. Transparency became the new mantra, and the power of the people surged back into their hands. Amid the chaos, I found myself thrust into the spotlight as a reluctant hero. Interviews, speaking engagements, and endless questions about my future plans. Alex stood beside me through it all, his unwavering support, my anchor. "We did it, Zoe. We changed the world," he said one evening as we stood on the balcony of our new headquarters, a hub for ethical tech advocacy. But as I looked at the headlines, I knew the battle was far from over. Technology needed to serve humanity, not control it, and it was up to us to ensure that future. Months later, as the dust settled, I took a deep breath and stepped into my new role. No longer just a data scientist, but an advocate for ethical technology. The journey had changed me, but one thing remained clear. The human spirit could not be quantified or controlled by any algorithm. "Join the fight for a better future," I urged, because technology should empower us, not enslave us. The crowd's applause was thunderous, but in my heart, I knew it was just the beginning. Our work was far from done, and I was ready for the challenges ahead. The true power lay not in the algorithms, but in the human spirit that wielded them. Months after exposing Social Sphere's dark secrets, Zoe Rocker stands as a symbol of resistance and ethical integrity in the tech world. As she addresses a crowd of activists and journalists, her message is clear. Technology should empower, not enslave. The applause is thunderous, but amid the celebration, Zoe's phone buzzes with an urgent message. It's from Alex Rocker, who has been digging deeper into the remnants of Social Sphere. "Zoe, we need to talk. There's another layer to the algorithm, something we missed. It's still out there, and it's evolving. This is not goodbye, nor the end. Until the story continues, my friends. B.N.Rocker.